What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Game Show Global Esports Cup. Still in the CIS qualifiers, where CIS Rejects are going up against FDG Fast Daedalus Gentlemen. And CIS Rejects currently have a one-game lead. Picked them apart in the first game with just massive amounts of small skirmishing, Silver Edge, Blink Daggers galore, and Nature's Prophet as well. But we'll see if they can do it again, or if FDG can bring it back. I'm Mikelorus. This time going to be joined by Lyrical Gangster on the mic. We got Corrupt Dropper on the stats as well. I don't even know if you saw any of the past games from CIS Rejects, but they've been tearing everyone up.
Yeah, they've been looking really, really good. And, I'm curious here if we're going to end up seeing a Wind Ranger ban out. Probably not the Silencer. I mean, he did a really, really good job for them in that last game, but it's kind of one of those heroes that you don't normally end up. I feel like you need some setup to make that work. It's not something that you can sort of first pick and I feel like get away with it. I actually didn't see the draft, so maybe they did first pick and then I'm putting my foot in my mouth. But nonetheless, we do see the Tusk banned out as well as the Lesh in the end. And then that first pick, Lina. So getting through, kind of a pretty good hero, I feel like, to be able to deal with the Wind Ranger as well, in my personal experience. But can also have a tough time in lane. We'll see if they end up picking that Wind Ranger up this time.
Yeah, it's was a Wind Ranger 4th pick, if I remember correctly, from CIS Reject. So they've had a pretty good idea of what the field was before they actually grabbed it. But Lina is going to be a little bit more resistant in this game than the just Shadow Fiend having to deal with both a Wind Ranger and a Bounty Hunter poking at him. Not fun. Bounty Hunter's not available, Shaker not available. So as far as CIS Rejects mid lane selection to really dominate this Lina, it's going to be a little bit difficult unless they want to grab something like a Spirit Breaker. But so far from what I've seen from them, hasn't necessarily been their style. So, going for maybe a Winter Wyvern as the first pick, maybe an early Darkseer, something like that, would be more up CIS Rejects alley.
I'll also mention I was a little bit surprised that the Darkseer wasn't able to get more done in that last game. He did a really, really great job in the early game, I felt like, being able to just completely and totally mess up that lane. But then afterwards, he got a couple vacuum walls off that helped. I think there probably just wasn't enough follow-up from the Shadow Fiend, because he was getting hurt pretty badly in lane, like you were talking about with the Bounty Hunter Wind Ranger. So, but that was pretty much, I felt like, the only lane that really ended up going their way, where he was just able to sort of abuse the fact that it was only slows. Oh, and they go for the Darkseer now for CIS Rejects. Pretty cool little pickup there. We'll see, though. There is still the option. Disruptors in the pool. We might see that banned out by CIS Rejects, but Dazzle is the other hero. Interesting start here.
It's a little bit defensively oriented for CIS Rejects, but that's fine. This is definitely a start that is meant to hide as much as possible. Like, Dazzle can do anything. Darkseer in the off lane, if you want to play an aggressive timing-based strategy, he's going to be your mech carrier. If you want to go late, then, well, he's still going to be your mech carrier, but you'll have the late game vacuum wall to fall back on. And, of course, he's just one of the safer offlaners. So CIS Rejects hiding pretty much everything. Like, you can't really prepare for Darkseer in lane too much. You can get your Disruptors, as you said before, and that may just be the second pick here for FDG. But if FDG already grabbing the Lina, sorry about that, grabbing the Lina, they have all the damage, and CIS Rejects have yet to pick up any significant damage source.
Thankfully, everybody is a dog lover, so it's all good. I would be a little bit surprised to see the Disruptor picked up, but it would be a probably pretty early ban by CIS Rejects, so maybe it's worth it, and potentially that's what they're debating. Instead, go for the Anti-Mage. A pretty good hero for dealing with Darkseer in his own right. Being able to drain away the mana, not a huge deal, but it can be tough. The fact that he has Spell Shield helps a lot against that Ion Shell, and they do just go straight for that Wind Ranger ban, so no real surprise there at all. I'm assuming that they probably are prepared for this, CIS Rejects, considering they've kind of switched up their draft entirely. But I don't know exactly. I think that probably, like you were saying, a Spirit Breaker in that aggressive type of lineup with the Darkseer, if, Darkseer is able to get a quick mech and you can just sort of jump on in there with Spirit Breaker over and over again at the Ion Shell, that's certainly a possibility. Broodmother banned out as well. It's kind of one of those things where you're not really revealing a ton about your draft yet, and not wanting to deal with the cheese. The Huskar is banned out as well.
Yeah, it makes the bans, sometimes easy for FDG, sometimes really hard, since they don't know what they should be banning. They just know that they can ban whatever they want, and Huskar can just screw you over sometimes. Though Lina and Anti-Mage are pretty well positioned to deal with the Huskar. CS Rejects need to make sure to get a little bit more CC on the board. What Darkseer and Dazzle have in defensive power, really lack in offensive power, can't lock down an Anti-Mage very easily. A Disruptor, or just a straight Drow Ranger. Okay, so CIS Rejects the other day ran like a super turbo aggressive strategy, had Vengeful Spirit, Jakiro, Drow Ranger, ended the game in 13 minutes. I don't know if this is going to be very similar, since Dazzle really doesn't contribute nearly as much in that regard when you compare him to someone like a Vengeful Spirit or Jakiro. But Drow Ranger into an Anti-Mage, into a Lina, that's a bold move from CIS Rejects.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you're right. Dazzle doesn't really contribute a ton. He does have the pushing power to some extent with that Shadow Wave and sustainability. So if you end up getting some, Arcane Boots up on this Darkseer, you end up getting, Dazzle with and once he ends up getting to level 7, that 6-second cooldown on Shadow Wave, absolutely ridiculously good in terms of the ability to push. It could be that same type of lineup there. You've also always got the chance there if they want to try and go split pushy stuff, they can go for the Visage, pick that on up. As you mentioned again, Jakiro is commonly seen. We do still need another support, but we'll see. Maybe they go Pugna mid, maybe something crazy like that. Queen of Pain could be interesting there. I'm curious if now, with this Queen of Pain pickup, if this might end up being a core, a support Lina, or a Queen of Pain offlane. Still a lot of flexibility in this draft, and I always like to see that.
Yeah, and the Queen of Pain, just another hero that can get right into the face of Drow Ranger, deactivate that marksmanship, and then, well, a lot less damage to worry about coming out from the enemies. If you can make your mic more sensitive in Dota 2, for the Dota TV crowd.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, just drop that a little bit. So, yeah, then we should be fine. With the Drow Ranger pickup for CIS Rejects, it looks like it is going to be a Vengeful Spirit. So, yeah, this won them a 13-minute game last time. It looks like FDG are going to have a little bit of a better time against this. Just inherently, Lina and Queen of Pain can fight very early on. Anti-Mage, you don't really want to be fighting, so that's going to be kind of the weak link here for FDG. But right now, FDG missing their supports, or it seems like missing their supports. They need like as early game as they can possibly get. If they can get, well, I don't know. Shaker would have been the best, obviously, but they just need to try to get right in the face of the Drow Ranger. Try to mess with the Vengeful Spirit. Try to lock down the early lanes as much as possible. That's why we see the Undying ban. That's why we see the Broodmother ban. Maybe even a Coddle, just to try to make pushing difficult for CIS Rejects.
Yeah, it could be a pretty good option there. I think that there is something that they need. They need to be able to have some type of counter push. And we'll see what they end up going for here. Also, the last ban becomes really important as well. I'm wondering even if CIS Rejects, if they wanted to, could just go, like, it doesn't fit with the strategy necessarily, but Bloodseeker is an option here. Mm-hmm. You've got Queen of Pain and Anti-Mage, both very blink-intensive heroes. It would be a great way to be able to lock them down, particularly because you don't have a whole heck of a lot of stuns. Ooh, I like that pick.
I said in the last game, when they last picked a Witch Doctor, like, how good would it have been if they last picked an Ogre Magi? And it's still really good. I feel like Ogre Magi needs to be played so much more, but yeah, he is the tankiest hero, it seems, at some points. He has insane regeneration also. He's a hero that could just charge into the likes of Drow Ranger, and Gust, though inconvenient, is not going to be enough to stop the Ogre. So, I mean, the Bloodlust synergies are kind of more limited. Anti-Mage with Bloodlust is kind of a necessary. Same thing with Lina and Queen of Pain, but if you're looking to fight early on, Ogre Magi is your guy.
Absolutely. I love Ogre Magi. He's always really interesting to see in lane because you always feel like he's just going to be able to like get taken down or whatever, and somehow he just walks away like he doesn't even care. And the other sort of thing there that's somewhat interesting is, Ignite is still really, really good. The main thing that got nerfed in his kit with the Jakiro ban there was the Fire Blast, but Ignite's still getting up to, the 20% slow at level 1, goes up to an 8-second duration at level 4, and 50 burn damage as well, continuing to go throughout the whole course of it. Really, really great skill, and being able to slow down that Drow Ranger so they can get in range of her, really what you need. So I'm curious to see how this goes. Of course, also there's the problem that Surge gets you, unlimited movement speed.
5 seconds.
I think that they still do need another form of anti-push, and I think that Coddle here makes a lot of sense as well, because with the new buff to Chakra Magic, well, now pretty old buff, you get the Fire Blast duration decreased as well by 4 seconds, it becomes really, really great to continuously stun away heroes. What is it? It goes to 12 second and then another 4 seconds off of that, so 8 seconds. I think that would be a really great pickup here for FDG.
If they just want to run the Lina in a support role, then they have a pretty nice roaming combo. Ogre Magi, Lina, just stun into another stun, and they could actually look to grab an offlaner in this at this stage of the game. Not really sure who would be the best in the situation, but really just anyone to get in there. It's CIS Rejects with only 1 second. Oh, hell yeah. Warlock, you know, we're seeing a couple heroes we don't see all the time. I think Ogre Magi should be played a lot more. I think Warlock is seen about as much as he should be right now, but they weren't able to grab the Jakiro. That was banned out by FDG. So they needed some other hero to really lay the smack in. The Warlock does have a lot of upside when his golems drop. The downside of this is that the ultimate has like a million-year cooldown, 165 seconds. And if you don't have that, your ability to fight is going to be severely hampered. So they're going to be on a bit more of a longer clock. Also, well, FDG, it seemed like they could just go ahead and kill the Warlock. Their damage output, their chasing power is very high. Now with the Zeus pickup, their damage, their burst is like insane.
Yeah, this is crazy right now. I mean, you take a look at this. This is going to be a Lina support, I'm assuming, is based upon what I'm seeing here. And I kind of like that. You know, you again have the setup for the Light Strike Array. You're also going to be able to be slowed if you don't have a Fire Blast with the Ogre Magi. So this is a really, really interesting game. Not a ton of stuns on either side. Only one right now for two right now for FDG, and then you've got Vengeful Spirit, and then sort of Vacuum, and then of course, you know, the big old rock getting dropped down. So really curious. We'll see how this goes. I'm not sure who I favor more here. I feel like to some extent CIS Rejects ends up having a bit of a better time because they just sort of have that clearly defined strategy in the bonus damage. So we'll see how it ends up working out.
I feel like CIS Rejects, their ability to push is going to be really dependent on this Gyro Ranger. Like, she has to keep that aura working. If it ever turns off, then the damage output just absolutely plummets. I don't know what that means, but man, do I wish I spoke that. FDG, they have, you know, kind of a clunky draft. This isn't your everyday draft from FDG, but expecting what CIS are bringing to the table, they are pretty well prepared. So I think I actually favor FDG's draft just slightly, but man, after last game, it's hard to say that FDG are going to have a great time versus CIS Rejects. Just such a dominant team in this environment with these other teams, but you know, we'll actually see. What they do have is that they're going to get the Anti-Mage matchup versus the Darkseer, and Darkseer is going to be played by Goretz heading up towards the top lane. Iceberg is going to be handling the Warlock. So different from a Wind Ranger from the last game. Always Want to Fly is on his Vengeful Spirit. Vank scores on the Dazzle. That leaves RT's farming it up as the Drow.
Yeah, this is, let's do a quick little introduction for FDG as well. We've got, can't pronounce that Ogre Magi name, sorry about that.
No, why? He's not moving. Why do you stop moving? He's AFK or something. Now he's here with the Ignite and the LSA, and he's just going to die. And Iceberg is surprised about it. This is, I mean, they saw them walk up the hill, and then Drow Ranger didn't move. And are they? No, don't fight the Ogre Magi, ever.
Yeah, Ogre Magi, kind of a dangerous person to fight against. That 7 armor, a good amount of right click, and just everything else that he could possibly want. Let me finish introducing the players here, though. We've got Droid, who's going to be playing that Queen of Pain. A whole heck of a lot of characters that I cannot pronounce. Always Want to Fly, taking a little bit of right click damage here as well from the Ogre Magi. Don't want to get up in his face. And then over in the mid lane, we've got Turson, who's going to be playing the Zeus. Running through the jungle, Lowdyne is going to be that Lina, and last but not least, Zara is going to be that Anti-Mage.
Alright, so Zara should have a pretty decent time up on this top lane. Again, this is the matchup that FDG really wanted. Maybe a little bit of help from the Lina poking at Darkseer occasionally, but for the most part, the Anti-Mage should be able to resist the Ion Shells. We can already see level 1 Spell Shield being taken. There's no need for a blink. In fact, no blink is needed for a very long time, and if he does get close up to the Darkseer, burning his mana will save Anti-Mage a lot of hassles down the line. So top lane should be pretty well controlled by FDG, especially with Lina getting good angle on Darkseer. Unfortunately, completely missed that LSA. So Darkseer just trying to bait them into the Ion Shells, and you can see Ogre Magi, Lady Luck. How appropriate is that, man? Like, yeah, I don't know if they planned that, but hats off if they did.
That's wonderful. You got to have that. I think that that's a pretty cool one. You know, you always got to get the little flavor picks there. Maybe it's his signature hero, maybe not. Always want to fly over here as well. I think should have a decent time. The problem that you're going to end up running into is that Venge actually, her attack range is only 400, so relatively low. Could be a little bit of a problem in terms of trying to harass, particularly with the Queen of Pain. If she gets out of position at all in this lane, particularly when Queen of Pain ends up gaining a couple of levels, this could be really, really bad for her. So we'll see how that goes, but
Dark's here. Now completely out of mana. First LSA missed, second LSA available, and it will also miss. Zara does have a blink in 2 seconds. Now it's time for Gortz to juke, or just walk right into the anti-mage and die. Oh, he's still trying to juke. One more hit, not quite going to do it. Zara has a blink. He's maybe going to guess wrong, though. Darkseer back in the nook. Blink in from anti-mage. One shot, not going to do it. They need two. Run, Darkseer, run.
what is life? Oh my god, I can't believe he got away from that. Zara just a little bit off there. It felt like Darkseer had unobstructed vision right there. He was just sort of like circling in response. Ooh, we do have a little bit of danger coming on over in the mid lane. Vengeful Spirit has rotated over. This is going to leave Drow a little bit vulnerable, but Dazzle's still hanging out. We'll see if they're going to opt to dive this. The creep wave is about to push on in. Warlock is here to try and do a little bit. Yeah, okay, Zeus recognizing the danger. He is going to back on out. I saw a couple of pings coming up. That must have been from his team. Letting him know about that.
There's no creep wave though, and Iceberg's gonna take an absolute beating. The Vengeful Spirit also spotted by the tower. And what you said, Vengeful Spirit lacks in range for actually like sustained poking in lane. She makes up for it in her sheer ability to go in and get kills. Magic Missile and Wave of Terror, super effective at dealing with fragile heroes like Zeus, like Queen of Pain without counting her blink, or up towards top lane the Lina even. But you really do need creep wave if you're gonna do that. So it's CIS Rejects to not have the CS lead that they were having in all their previous games. Most of the time, they would lose a couple kills here and there, but it won't be a big deal because they are getting so much CS. Warlock's doing fine, but bottom lane really isn't.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. This Drow really needs to be able to get off to that early good start. She does have the 2 levels in Precision Aura. Always Wanna Fly's hitting pretty good as well. Doesn't have that Vengeance Aura leveled up yet. Obviously, wanting to make sure that he's able to. Artiz keeps taking all that damage from the ignited as well. God, he needs to be so careful right now. Is going to salve on up, and I think that's the wise decision. Completely and totally could have gotten torn up if he stuck around too long.
And it's still so dangerous. We got double slows. Ignite does so much damage at level 1. More than Fire Blast, actually. And Queen of Pain's Shadow Strike level 2. Just being able to jump onto the Drow Ranger with no Gust. She has to grab Gust level 4 here, right? Yeah, she will. But Ogre Magi, Queen of Pain, I think they want this Drow Ranger dead. Just looking at their positioning. I'm pretty sure that's the goal here. And it should be really easy if a single spell lands. Then you just blink in, scream, dagger, and Drow Ranger. Though Gust is really nice at disengaging, it's not that nice. Always Wanna Fly, still messing with Turson right now.
Ooh,
over in mid, doing a lot of damage, but not quite enough. Making the Warlock's life very easy, however.
Definitely. And I think that they've been doing 16 professional games. Oh, that's pretty rough.
It's okay. They're gonna increase that. The Warlock is gonna have his day. Maybe.
Absolutely.
They're gonna dive top. Maybe. The Anti-Mage has Blink, so you can't kill him, but you can get right in top of loading with the Ion Shell, taking a lot of damage. In fact, Gortz is gonna burn him down. Level 2 Ion Shell. Just 3 experience away from level 3, but it looks like that doesn't matter. Lina not fast enough to get away from the Darkseer. Now Anti-Mage, he's stuck behind here. His tower's gonna take a lot of damage, and if he shows his face, well, he's gonna have to immediately leave. So yeah, this tower may drop a lot sooner than planned for CIS Rejects, but over towards bottom, the Ogre Magi Lady Luck already putting the heat to the Drow Ranger, both figuratively and literally. Over towards mid lane at the same time, Turson is going to get dove. Iceberg's taking some tower shots, but the Warlock is actually pretty tanky. You wouldn't really expect it, but 30 strength, that's actually quite a lot.
Yeah, 4 armor. He is just ready to go right now. And on top of that, you've got Shadow Word, which has a great heal. And, consistently able to be there. Does have level 7 now as well. So Shadow Word's going to be maxed on out, as is the Chaotic Offering. We do have Anti-Mage showing his face up in the top lane with Lina there as well. TP's coming on in. Drow Ranger's going to, excuse me, not Drow Ranger. Ogre Magi is going to be here. 1-1-1 takes a lot of damage there as well. He's going to surge away. No Ignite is going to slow him on down. And Always Wanna Fly trying to toss on out. That's Wave of Terror as well. 1-1-1's actually going to end up going down here. Anti-Mage gets the last hit. Really nicely done there. It looked like he could have potentially walked away, but just got a little bit too caught there. Pausing the game. Not sure what that was all about.
The LSAs from Lina haven't really been landing just yet, but landing 2 there, it's certainly very helpful since both of them were on the Darkseer. If loading can keep on doing that, especially with Ogre Magi's help, even though they did layer the first stun quite a bit, yeah, killing off the Darkseer is still difficult, but very, very possible. Warlock thinking about going to the top lane, and now is about the time when he wants to use Chaotic Offering. It is so much damage when you just hit the enemies once with the Golem. Like, just do that and you're good to go, but actually finding a good opportunity to do it, that's a lot more difficult. So Iceberg, he's gonna have to grab a TP, I think. This might be the time where the CIS reject side decide to ball up and use the power of the Warlock's ultimate to take a tower. And top lane's already, well, actually in deny range, so this might actually be denied.
Yeah, I think it probably will be, especially with these creeps here. I'll be able to get denied on out, I imagine. So the thing that I feel like in this game for CIS rejects is basically it's going to depend upon, one, how well they're able to push things down. And you're already seeing with the top tower going down soon, there's kind of a check there. Probably within the 7-minute mark, it's either going to be denied or taken. And then the other thing is going to be, as you get towards that mid game, how well they're going to be able to combo the vacuum with the chaotic offering. And I feel like this game, if they get 2 to 3 of those by the 17-minute mark, I think they win, which is kind of a little interesting way to think about how this game's going to progress. But they still can win in other ways as well if their push ends up working also.
But if they do miss those combos any time at all, then it's going to cost them a lot. Again, Chaotic Offering's cooldown is so large that you may just waste the ultimate and then you're forced to sit back and do nothing for 3 minutes. I mean, with the Drow Ranger's damage, they can still do some things like smoke ganks and whatnot, but it's really not what they want to be. Over towards top, Dazzle's going to put himself into a corner. However, Lady Luck does know that Vangscore is here, and looks like Vangscore knows that he's being stalked. He's just going to get out of there. Teleport, not even back to the base. Thunder God's Wrath is going to be deployed. Iceberg taking a lot of damage, but drops the ultimate for the Zeus. Tower shots will kill him off, though. 1-for-1 trade, and though it is a trade that's good for the Warlock, it's not good for the Drow Ranger. Got chased down by the Queen of Pain with the Sonic Wave not even used. Vengeful Spirit's going to come in. She can't do anything here, and up towards top at the same time. Looks like they're itching for a fight. Ignite's going to be thrown towards Gorus, just trying to bait them all into the Ion Shell. Lady Luck taking a lot of damage. Vangscore kind of in the area, but being zoned out by Zara. And, well, the Darkseer needs to leave, like right now. Fire Blast is there. LSA as well. Vangscore has the Grave here, and the Ion Shell just killed out the Lina. Got way too overconfident there. The Anti-Mage is going to be fine, as will the Ogre Magi. But 4-4 and CS rejects, they get a lot of damage to the tower, but having a tower denied from them up towards top hurts a lot more than normal, because they are running this super early game, mid-game based draft.
Yeah, and we're also seeing the mid tower about to go down as well. This is the other part. The Chaotic Offering just completely and totally wrecks towers there, able to take it on down with a quickness, and that's 2 towers now dead by the 8-minute mark. Absolutely huge. This is going to be a little bit more damage up top here as well. Zara is getting hurt pretty significantly. Dazzle getting that bonus 11 damage from the aura, and Darkseer as well can just continue to run around. The thing to keep in mind here, we do still have Mana Void up, and Darkseer's got a pretty big mana pool, so needs to be careful there that he doesn't end up getting isolated from the Dazzle. That's going to be a ward drop down there as well.
Lodine being stalked actually by the Vengeful Spirit. Warlock is coming in with phase boots pretty quick, but Venge seems like a little bit too slow. In fact, Lodine keeps hold of his salve even. There's another Warlock ulti in 1 minute. Taking a look at the Drow Ranger status, she's really struggling on bottom lane. RT is, just versus the Queen of Pain, a bad matchup for the Drow Ranger. She's level 7 versus level 5 of Drow. She just needs her level 6. Once she gets that, so much more damage for the rest of the allies who are over in mid. Darkseer, Invisible, and Ion Shell. That's so obnoxious, but it looks like it's not actually going to work out. Teleport down towards bottom. Sonic Wave through the trees, picking off the Drow Ranger. And Iceberg, even with Shadow Wave landing, not going to be able to get the kill here on Droid. He's not even going to be able to find the Queen of Pain. That's the Drow Ranger, again, being shut down, and Zara up towards top lane. He sees the Venge, he sees the Dazzle, he doesn't know that there's a Darkseer here, but even with 1 level Magic Missile, that's not enough to kill off an Anti-Mage. And also Ogre Magi is actually rotating up towards top as well. With Ogre Magi and Anti-Mage, they can kill off both these support heroes. They're very squishy. They're not going to make the jump in, though. They're surrounded, though, Radiant, and they have to get out. Tersen's going to run to the Darkseer. This is not what the Zeus wants to find, although he's going to drop his entire payload. The Darkseer's going to surge away. No, get back in, go out. I don't know. Wave through onto 2. Darkseer kind of low. They do land the Magic Missile, but suddenly 4 heroes are here. From the CS side, great gust here from Arties, but he's suddenly surrounded by the Ogre Magi and Anti-Mage. The Queen of Pain will drop the Vengeful Spirit who ran off to the north, and CS Rejects find themselves in a 4v5. They do have the Warlock coming in with the ultimate at the ready, backing back onto the Ogre Magi with the Frost Arrows. They're going to prevent him from running away. They're going to drop the ultimate, which is going to zone out Jordan. Turson, but the Ogre Magi may just live here. Still the Shadow Words on him. Looks like that may be lethal. Not with the stick charges. Loading now tagged with the Frost, and he's going to try to go into the trees to hide. Where's the Warlock ultimate? It's going to finally come in. Loading and Lady Luck both now trapped in the corner. Ion Shell will kill them both off, it seems. Warlock with the immolation going to get another, but at the same time, Darkseer getting picked off by Droid. Turson's going to rejoin this fight, and they're both onto Arties right now. This Drow Ranger's so soft and will go down. Iceberg sitting in tower range, doing a lot of damage to the Zeus, will get the kill, but dies first. And FDG, they clean house up on this top lane. This draft is, this gameplay is not working out for CIS Rejects draft. This is not the plan.
What was that team fight even? Like, you started off with like the Ogre Magi over here on the left-hand side of the, other two supports for the Radiant. It was just so messy throughout the whole course of that. And, at the end of the day, I really thought the Warlock ulti was going to be able to do a little bit more, but it got sent a little bit to the other side. And they were able to get a couple kills with it, but probably not as many as they would have wanted. And at the end of the day, the other big thing about this is that, we talked about it the other day, if you are behind, you don't really want to group up and team fight a ton, but the problem is that that's what their lineup is designed to do, and when nobody is farming, the team that's ahead is going to stay ahead. So you take a look at net worth right now, we're sitting at, actually only about 500 for CIS Rejects. Somehow they're in the lead at the end of all of this, after losing that big team fight. FDG is pretty far ahead in terms of EXP, though.
They're ahead technically, but they need to be so much further ahead, and they're ahead with the wrong heroes as well. Drow Ranger is second from the bottom for the Radiant side. Finally does have her ultimate, so a lot of extra damage coming out from her, and with maybe enough damage to brute force the tower, but the Warlock's ultimate is still down for 50 seconds. If FDG really wanted to, they can fight this one out. Wave is going to spot Droid, but this Queen of Pain's level 8. She has a Sonic Wave. Really significant threat. Thunder God's Wrath can open up. Here comes the Ignite. Here comes Sonic Wave onto 3, actually. Vangsor's going to drop a heal, but that's not nearly enough to save everyone. They're going to drop Always Want to Fly first, and, well, the Grave's going to save him for a little while longer. He's not going to live forever, and Artie's also being zoned out by just the support Ogre Magi. Droid will fall in the end to the Dazzle, getting a pretty nice heal bomb. Artie's with the Gust back onto the Ogre Magi is going to buy himself a little bit more space. Going to get woven up as well. Lady Luck is spotted right now. Artie's trying to juke. Loading is going to cut him off, though. Ignite, not going to do it, as Warlock does grab another kill. Looks like CIS Rejects Dazzle really showing his power this time. And hey, look at that. There's another Warlock ultimate in just 7 seconds. The Drow Ranger gets to live. It was a great fight for CIS Rejects, but it was messy as all hell.
Yeah, and I saw the Ogre Magi there. He was thinking about going in on the other supports that were up near this tree line, but instead changed his mind, went for the Drow Ranger. And at the time, I thought it was the right decision, so that way he was going to be able to get him. But the reinforcements coming on from CIS Rejects was just a little bit too much, and he wasn't able to make it happen. And now this tower going down, like you mentioned, it's exactly what they needed. And, they still need a heck of a lot more farm on this Drow Ranger to be able to really sort of transition into that later game. But right now, at least, it's looking a little bit better. We'll see if they're going to be able to continue this streak here.
Mechanism on Darkseer is a huge pickup. We can already see the effects of Sonic Wave and Thunder God's Wrath. Did quite a bit of damage, but not quite enough to actually get any kills immediately. Add a mech on top of that with the potential heal power of the Shadow Wave, and then you're good to go. They're going to swap back onto Droid. Magic Missile plus Gust. Is there enough damage here? It looks like they will fall short. Droid, no! Deciding to Shadow Strike instead of blinking away. That's just a sheer mistake from the Queen of Pain. She was free and clear to get out of there, but it's a free kill for CIS Rejects, who actually got it. It was the Vengeful Spirit. Yeah, Swap is up level 6 with the Vengeance Aura. That's plus 68 right now, plus 71 total extra damage. Yeah, this Vengeful Spirit's actually hitting very, very hard.
Yeah, definitely. And that's really, it's the power of the Drow Ranger. The other thing I'll mention again about that fight that we just saw a second ago is that they didn't have to use Warlock ulti for that either. So they can definitely take tier 2s here with this Warlock ulti, potentially even 2 of them. Now we're seeing them push on forward. It looks like FDG wants to try and fight this. Zeus is coming on in. Queen of Pain back up again. They get him getting the spot there. Do we have enough? Really nice Gust to keep alive a little bit longer. Sonic Wave on top yet again, but that's going to be the Warlock ulti coming down on top of Droid. I don't know if he's going to be able to get out of this one. The wall is dropped down as well. Droid taking a lot of damage. Nice Shallow Grave, keeping alive that Warlock a little bit longer. Dazzle might end up paying for it. No, ends up turning it back around, but then ends up getting the Mana Void on top from the Anti-Mage. Still taking a lot of damage and is going to get out of there.
Huge plays from Vangscore. He waited so long for that Grave that I thought he was going to botch it and the Warlock would have fallen, but the Warlock stayed alive for a very long time, and this Warlock, again, is inherently very tanky. given his build, even tankier. He's obviously going to go for Aghanim Scepter because there is no other build for Warlock, but even grabbing a Drums before that, I don't know how this Warlock is that wealthy, but they picked off the Zeus beforehand, or someone beforehand. It was the Ogre Magi behind his tier 2 tower, and then just with the sheer right-click damage of the Vengeful Spirit and Warlock, and having 4 ranged heroes certainly doesn't hurt with the Drow Ranger. They get so much out of that. Still, they do end up taking the tier 2 bottom lane, tier 2 mid lane, taking quite a heat as the Warlock's Golem is able to, crush through the creep wave. But that Mana Void in the end, that was exactly not what CIS Rejects wanted to have right there. Otherwise, they probably get away with the rest of the heroes. They're going to slide into the Roche Pit. They just have a medallion delivered, but Thunder God's Wrath, it's going to be up to Spot. And FDG can crash this in a big way. They have no Sonic Wave. The Bolt, I think, saw them. Yeah, they're going to ping it out. Warlock has a heal, but he has no ultimate right now. Thunder God's Wrath is going to spot them. Mech to balance everything out, and Artees now has a double life. A little bit of much-needed security here from the Drow Ranger, who's still only level 8.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. I think they were hoping that Thunder God's Wrath was going to scare off CIS Rejects, but realizing that they couldn't really do a ton to be able to contest, they just stuck around. But that's going to mean that Zeus doesn't have that for the next fight here. Also, a little bit of depleted mana. I don't even know if they can really contest this here. I feel like if they do, particularly with Weave, they're just going to get melted. Looks like they just want to keep them off the tower as long as possible. With all of that damage coming out, they have no problem just completely and totally wrecking that tower. I think here, the other thing to keep in mind, Dazzle actually didn't have that medallion up for that little Roche take. Ooh, they might find Zara here. Do they have any way to chase continually? We do have the stun coming on out from Always Want to Fly in just a second there. No Gust or anything else to follow it up, though, unfortunately. And it looks like Anti-Mage is just going to go straight for him. No, realizing the inherent ditch over situation is going to run away. Drums drop now as well. Gust missed Zara barely. Oh, God, just one more hit. That's all that they need. Isn't going to be able to get it this time around. And it looks like, oh, that Weave almost caught him as well, which would have given them the vision to take him on out. Man, I wonder at this point if it's worth it even to drop like a Chaotic Offering on just the Anti-Mage alone. Obviously he didn't have it up, but we'll have it up for this next team fight.
Oh man, it probably isn't, mostly because this tower is almost going to give Iceberg his Aghanim Scepter. And now's the time when they have the Aegis, they have the ultimate with the Aghanim Scepter, now's the time to fight. This Anti-Mage is very, very farmed though. Like, he's well on his way towards the labs, already has Battle Fury. This is a much higher farmed Anti-Mage than usually we see, but he might not have a chance to actually use it because CIS Rejects looking to end the game right now. Thunder God's Wrath, Scream of Pain, Sonic Wave, everything, but with the mech, they'll keep RTs very healthy, and with the Weave now, they're just going to bowl right through the tier 3 tower. Backdoor protection, not going to kick in just yet. They get swapped back onto Tersen right now, enough damage, not quite there. He gets 4-staffed out, but still, they're going to vacuum right back into a Gust and a Chaotic Offering. Instantly 2 dead. Lina forced to buy out. Can they race fast enough for these racks? As the backdoor protection is there. Still, they're doing their damage to their range racks. Melee probably not as lucky for CIS Rejects. They really do need a creep wave here, but someone was back there killing it off. I believe it was the Ogre Magi. They're going to try to brute force their way through it. I don't think this is actually going to work. They have to fall back right now. Great plays from, I again think it was the Ogre Magi back there, just destroying the creep wave. Now they're going to jump in for Iceberg, who does have Aghanim Scepter, is still very tanky. Magic Missile onto Droid right now, has no blink for 5 seconds. Gust going to slow him down even further. The Warlock Golem getting in there, and Droid going to fall. The creep wave is actually here. One range creep, it's all they need. Backdoor protection off. The Warlock Golem still alive and Always Want to Fly just on the front lines with over 150 damage a pop, posing a significant threat. They're all woven up again. They're going to slide to the mid lane. Top Rax is already taken, only 18 minutes in. I thought with the start, CIS Rejects wouldn't be able to do this until like 30 minutes, but man, did they prove me wrong. Swap back into Tersen, 4-staff again, but is it enough this time? It looks like it will be. This is a tier 3 tower. Top Raxes, another tier 3 tower, and now they should fall back unless they, okay, maybe they're just going to want to fight. They still have the Aegis. They're going to go for range racks. CIS Rejects not going to give up. Vacuum back onto 2. They're all connected with the bonds. That's not going to result into any deaths just yet, but the racks are still falling. Magic Missile onto the Ogre Magi. The bonds may just kill off the Zeus here. It's going to kill off the Ogre Magi at least, and Login also not too healthy. 2 Raxes. They're going to go for the win? Are you kidding me? I mean, 2 Raxes already. Did they already win?
I kind of think maybe. How did that even end up happening? Just the amount of damage. We saw the stat right beforehand. 43, I think it was, per person, or 47 potentially. Tons of damage coming out from that Drow to the Vengeur as well. Like, the towers were just falling so quickly. And, I was even wondering, when they ended up trading out Zara, meanwhile, farming on out the jungle, when they were swapping on out the Venge, I felt like it might even have just been worth it to keep the Venge alive, just so that way they had that level for Vengeance Aura, they probably didn't even want to kill heroes at that point. Just keeping her alive. Ooh, Zara jumping in on top of this Darkseer. He is going to be able to get away, not draining enough mana quite quick enough. And the Battle Fury, the only item with the Vlad's up on this Anti-Mage, so he really needs to get some more farm, because otherwise, like, with 2 racks down, it's just so difficult.
Always want to fly, gonna swap his Warlock friends just because. I think CIS Rejects, they know that they maybe not have completely won, but, you know, 99% of the time they win the game from here on out. The secondary push now with another Warlock ultimate is going to be Aghanimed. It's going to have a Satyr Mind Stealer because he decided to go for Helm of the Dominator, you know, okay. Sure, why not? They got Vlad's on the Dazzle. They have S and Y being built on the Vengeful Spirit, an Eagle Song on the Drow Ranger, now up to plus 53 on everyone. Plus Darkseer just buys a straight pipe. As farmed as this Anti-Mage is, he is not able to take down all these heroes. I don't know if FDG actually have enough to burst down heroes like with a Thunder God's Wrath Sonic Wave combo. It just might not be enough. Arteez does not have the Aegis any longer, but what he does have is a shit ton of damage, and the Warlock just on the front lines. He has so much HP. He knows that if he gets hit with any sort of skill barrage, he will still survive, especially with Dazzle behind him. Now he can turn around, link up some heroes, and then just drop an ultimate. Arteez gonna just drop very low, but Mech and Shadow Wave suddenly back up to 2/3. Swap back onto the Ogre Magic. Magic Missile is there, plus the follow-up damage. That's a dead Ogre Magi. Droid gonna get back into a wall. Will blink out of there. Force Staff out from the Zeus as well, but there's so much damage, and then the Warlocks drop. The Golems drop. Droid is going to get picked down by Always Wanna Fly, bonded up to the Zeus, who's also going to fall. And that is going to be mega. Zara's going to get beaten down by the Golems. 21 minutes in, triple kill for the Warlock. And yeah, Drow deals 322 damage a hit. All planned.
Wow, that was amazing. GG, well played, ends up getting called. Just an impressive, honestly, draft. If you take a look at it, that's really what it came down to here, was even though they ended up having a really abysmal start, they had a well-executed strategy that they wanted to try and execute, and they were able to make it happen. And all in all, it shows the power of actually having a sort of synergistic plan that works throughout the whole course of the game, except for those first couple of minutes. Really impressive there by CIS Rejects.
Yeah, they were able to absorb that loss of that messy fight that happened near the Tier 2 tower of the Dire, which I thought would have just been the brick wall. I mean, that gave the Queen of Pain her Aghanims after the Anti-Mage, his Battle Fury. These are good items, great item times for FDG. They just don't have the proper heroes to fight in such a large scale. They needed to get more done in the early game, and though they did okay, it definitely wasn't enough. Guys, this is going to be the end of this series. We have another one coming up in... oh man, that's in an hour and 15 minutes. Kind of inconvenient, but yeah, that's going to be between FDG and Aspera. Maybe a little bit of an easier matchup for FDG, but still, Aspera are Aspera, so it's going to be difficult. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Lyrical Gangster on the microphone. Corrupt Dropbear has been providing you the stats, and we'll be back in an hour 15 for the next set. Congratulations to CIS Rejects, going to stay on top of the group. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Mikelorus, at Lyrical Gangster with a 3, and at Corrupt Dropbear. Right now, guys, GG.
GG.